And Celeste, I found one of these for you. And I already promised this one, Priscilla. I'm going to have to send off and get more. That's a good thing. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Those things are wonderful. Good morning, Solid Rock. Huh? A mouse does that? Steals potato peelers? Oh, I'd like to watch one use it. I would. Just to see, you know. Anyhow, let me keep turning. We have such wonderful, wonderful lessons right now. I'm loving them because I love history and I love. I'm one of these that I like tangible things, like, oh, you can prove this, you can dig this up, you can look at it. When it teaches about love and faith and stuff like that, I guess it's because I was a science teacher for so long. I like to have that proof in the pudding kind of thing. This is my Mother's Day card from Michael. You guys remember Michael? He's in the Army, out right now, maybe California. I can't keep up with him. Last I heard, huh? Robinson, yes. I think he is training in California right now. Well, I am his godmother. So every Mother's Day, I get a Mother's Day card from Michael. And it just thrills my soul because I miss him dearly. He was 6 months old when Jimmy and I got married. So I can keep up with my anniversary and his age all at the same time. All right? It has to be simplified like that for me, or else I forget. I used to tell people hooked on mnemonics works for me. Mnemonics is a way to memorize something, it's a trick. All right, it's a trick. Like my husband's phone number, I'm not going to say it out loud, the first numbers of it, but the last 4 digits, if you look, it spells out JIMM. Yeah, so I'm like, all you have to do is tell people that your phone number is blah, 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 Jim. Or Jim. I mean, it could go either way. But yeah, I picked that one on purpose. You know you can do that, right? Come up with a word, find out the numbers for it, and ask them when you get a phone, hey, can I get this phone number? They'll search it for you. I am folding numbers. These are going to be for all the mothers because we have a door prize that we're going to give out for the mothers. And I didn't get a chance to get it done before church started. So here I am, Miss Peggy. You've heard of two birds with one stone? I go for 3 or 4 at a time. Uh, oh, you are so kind. I'm about done. No, I'm not. Here you go. I'm just folding them in half anyway. Let me get the rest of them up there. And keeping them all mixed up is wonderful. And what do you Uh, Actually, if you'd like, you can just go ahead and start walking around to the mamas. They each need to take a number. Thank you so very much. Ah, my lovely assistant, Miss Peggy. I love it. All right, well, let's get on with the lesson today. Oh, that's a shame. We're knocking out all the men today. He'll be cheering for Destiny the whole time. He'll be like, Destiny, Destiny. All right. So our lesson title is Another in the Fire. All right. Oh, it's such a good lesson. And following last week's lesson, I don't know about y'all. I loved last week's lesson. I love to learn about Daniel. I really enjoy learning about the Hebrew children. That's today's, the 3 Hebrew children. So we're going to talk some more about them in just a moment. I do want to say Happy Mother's Day to all you moms here and out there. I appreciate you joining us. I'll ask that you remember Sister Faith. She's our newest mother. She sent me a message. They are passing around hand, foot, and mouth in her household. Yeah, she said, please pray that herself and the baby, Ellie, don't get it. So please pray. I think the rest of the family has it now. It's a it acts like strep almost. Okay, it presents that way. But another way that you can tell, you will break out in a rash, typically. Um, of course, when you have a fever, that's the most contagious. It usually presents with a terrible sore throat, runny nose, like a very bad head cold. It's just awful to have to deal with. But it will, and some people call it slap disease. And the reason why they call it slap disease, it literally looks like somebody has just slapped you through the face about 5 times on each side because your cheeks in that area they're just blood red. All right, so just pray for them. It's a horrible thing to have to deal with. God love them. She said her oldest son, Hunter, he gets to go back to school Tuesdays. On this coming Tuesday. So just pray for them. And I appreciate that they didn't want to come and share it with the church. So, you know, they they are precious. I was actually teasing her because I was talking to her about definitely being the mother with the most kids. You know, I like to do things like that, get prepared. So, yeah, that's when she told me we won't get to be there. So just pray for them. Pray for this lesson this morning, and of course, the teacher. I only want the Spirit to bring out what needs to be brought out. Um, let's pray right quick. And why don't you just go ahead and pray for us, Miss Peggy? Amen. Brother Sammy, would you go ahead and go get the offering plate and take up the offering right quick? And while he's doing that, I'm going to tell you the parts that are broken down in our lesson. First, we have pressured to compromise. Next, standing in faith. And then number 3 is only God can miraculously rescue. All of those are taken out of Daniel chapter 3 this morning, okay? So if you're following along in a Bible, it is Daniel chapter 3. Our central truth: by faith, Christians can stand firm when tempted to compromise. In our world today, I've never seen so much compromising. And I've never seen so much push to compromise. It's just horrible. Our focus today: recognize our faith in God will be challenged and determined to serve Him without compromise. Evangelism emphasis: loyalty to Christ can influence others to place their faith in Him. And then our golden text comes from Daniel 3 and 17. And it says, "Our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and He will deliver us out of thine hand." When we think about the 3 Hebrew children, I want you guys to think of something. Go back with me a little bit. Because when they were first taken into captivity, they did something different right off the bat. Who knows what they did different? Miss Janie. They did not eat of the king's table. The king's table. Think about that. They were offered the same food that the king was eating, and they said no because they believed in only eating certain things according to their Hebrew heritage. They had, if you study in the book of Leviticus, you will see there were some very strict guidelines as to what they were supposed to eat and what they were supposed to not eat. All right, just making sure how close I am to the front of that. I saw you watching with me there, Joe. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be too close. I'll be, whoop. I'll sit here. The table will be out there on its top. But I sometimes do those things, a little klutzy. But these Hebrew children, they stood right from the beginning. You got to realize that these boys were only teenagers when they were first taken into bondage. That's exactly right. If we don't have Jesus, and I see this as if we don't put that word in, anything else can get in. Think about it. Think about drinking a glass of tea, okay? When you're drinking a glass of tea, when it's full of tea, you can't fit anything else in there. But as you're drinking it, all right, and that glass goes down, can other stuff fit in? Well, what do you do to keep the other stuff out? You keep it filled up with tea. That's what you do. Well, it's the same thing with the Word. Put that Word in each and every day. Let it fill you up. Then, when something else comes along, it won't be able to get in there and fill you up with the trash, with the negativity. All right? When we start abiding in the Word and abiding in our relationship with Jesus, wanting to talk to Him, take time to talk to God. It's called praying. And every prayer doesn't have to be, oh, dear Lord, please help me do and give me and all this. That doesn't have to be a prayer. You know what? You can give praise in a prayer. And actually, we're supposed to start every prayer with praising God, thanking Him for what He has already done. Now, you moms, since this is Mother's Day, let's just think about it. If your kid comes up to you and says, hey, I want this, that never did convince me to run out and get it. All right? But when Leah would turn on her daddy's charm, because I say she takes it straight from him, and come up and say, Mama, you know, I love it when you make those chocolate oatmeal cookies. Do you think we could get some of those made? You know, I've already got the pot halfway out before she finishes asking, because she's throwing in that little appreciation at first. When your child appreciates something, you're more likely to go and give it to them. Well, who do we take after? Whose image are we made in? Yeah, we're made in the image of God. All right? So the very image that Christ set forth, we've got examples all throughout the Bible. That image of God that we feel, He feels, and we need to understand that. As His children, do we tell Him thank you for the blessings that He has given us? Because I'll be honest with you, the more I thank Him for the blessings that He has given, it seems like the more blessings I get. All right? When I walk into church, the first thing that comes out of my mouth is thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. He got me here. He got this church here. He got you here, my church family, and I thank Him for you guys. So remember that. Give praise when you first start talking to God, all right? I dare say that these boys, they gave God some praise because they went through some dire straits when they were taken into bondage, put into slavery. They really went through it, but they did not turn their backs on God. So many people, when something happens bad, they want to blame God. Why blame God? God gives us good things. Okay? God doesn't give us the bad things. God helps us through the bad things. So why do we want to get bitter against God? Now, while I'm doing this lesson, Miss Peggy is going to come around, and she's going to have each mama take a number out of the cup. You already did it? I'm telling you, she's so quick. I can't keep up that woman for nothing. Joe, how do you do it? Good job. God is wonderful. So you had the shot 2x4 put through your hip? Oh my. So you almost are saying that the shot's worth it. Okay. Isn't it amazing how God created somebody that would think of that? I think that's amazing. Because a lot of people, they're like, I only depend on Jesus, no doctors, no medicine, no this. God gave that knowledge. He is the one who helped them understand how the brain works, how the body works. He gives some people the specialty of skeleton. He gave some people the specialty of just knees and ankles. I mean, it's things like that amaze me. I find it very interesting. But let's go on. Let's keep me focused today, guys. Now you're gonna have to bring me back. I'm gonna make that Joseph's job. Bring me back. You never can tell, Joe. You never can tell. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about pressure to compromise. We're going to go to Daniel 3, verses 1 through 7. Now, remember, it's King Nebuchadnezzar. Last week, he tried to do what with Daniel? Tell me that again. Well, we're not to the lion's den just yet. What did Daniel do for him? He interpreted that dream, right? So Daniel was then promoted up. He was really raised up. So now, but we found out, Daniel had 3 good pals, and they all hung out together. All right, this little boys' club, they hung out together. Do you remember their Hebrew names? Oh, talk to me again. Okay, so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, those were their Babylonian names. Can anybody tell me even one of their original Hebrew names? Azariah, Hananiah, Mishael. Those are harder for us to remember because we just don't. You always hear Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They did that for every single person in slavery. They took away their Hebrew name and they gave them a Babylonian name. We have a special name that God has given us, and when we get to heaven, we'll find out. I hope mine's easier to spell than Stelina. I hope mine's easier to spell than Stelina. He may just give me one letter. I'm going to be the letter S. Yeah, that's my name. Okay. I'll just be so happy to be there. I don't care what to call me. As long as, oh, I love that. As long as he calls me mine. That's another T-shirt we need to make. All right, I've already got 2 I need to make. All right, so Nebuchadnezzar the king, he made an image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, the governors and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. There's the second time we've heard that. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. There's the third time we've heard that. Then an herald cried aloud, To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. There's 4 times. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning, fiery furnace. 7 scriptures, the same thing said 4 times. What was the phrase that was said 4 times? Who set it up? Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. Why is that point being driven home with us? Because God didn't set it up. He wanted to make sure that we knew, hey, the king set it up, not God. Four times. Understand the importance of realizing the king did this, not God. Now, in that dream from last week, the head was made of what metal? Gold. And that head represented Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel told him this. Theologists, theologians, whatever you want, Bible scholars, you know, those people that study the Bible, they are the ones who believe that Nebuchadnezzar got the idea of building an entire golden statue from his own dream because the head was gold that represented him. So he's going to go out here. Kings were like that. Got right into his head. It was, oh, well, this is all about me. Well, I'm going to build this entire statue out of gold. And when people hear the music, you know what they're going to do? They're going to drop to their knees and they are going to worship me, said the king. You see, these kings, they were big into worship of themselves. All right? So he set this up for that very reason. Now, I do want to point out one thing. There was one group of people he did not mention to show up. When hearing about the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, and all the rulers, he did not mention magicians. Now, the reason why I say that, I always wondered, since Daniel hung out with these three boys, why wasn't Daniel thrown in the fire? Because you know he's not bowing to no king. Well, Daniel was considered a magician. After he interpreted that dream, he was put in that label. Okay? Well, somebody had to stay at the castle and take care of things. So it is believed that the magicians and some other servants, they were left in the castle. These were for the main guys first. And the magicians, they were not part of that group. So Daniel was not in the group because of that very reason, okay? I wanted to know that. I personally wanted to know that. And when I start thinking, man, I really want to know that, that's when I share those things with you, because I think, you know, if I was curious, maybe somebody else was too. Why wasn't Daniel there if he was such a good friend? Okay? So that tells the reason why he wasn't in the fire. So the king assembled all the officials from the provinces, and the image's location reminds us of Daniel 2:49, which states that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were over the affairs of the province of Babylon. That's why they would be at this event. They had been promoted to be over the affairs of the province of Babylon. Well, this image was very much located in the plain of Dura, which was located in the province of Babylon. So these three boys were supposed to be there. Look with me at Daniel 3, verse number 8. The music came out, it played, everybody bowed, and trust me, there were a few thousand people. So the king didn't necessarily see the three Hebrew children at first. But no worry, there's always somebody around watching you to tell on you, right? And they definitely like to tell when you mess up. They definitely like to tell when you didn't do something right. They'll even make up stuff and add to it just to make it sound even better. Will they not? I mean, every one of us have had those situations. You show up at work, you think it's going to be a good day, and then all of a sudden the boss says, hey, I need to talk to you for a minute. How many of y'all every time, even when I go to people here at church as the pastor's wife and say, hey, I need to talk to you for just a minute, what does everybody respond with? What did you do? Oh, you're in trouble. Every time. It does make me kind of laugh. But, verse number 8. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Lift him up, get him listening to you. Verse number 12. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Now, I tell you what I think about this. I think here you've got these Jews. They were outsiders. They weren't part of the Babylonians. But here you got these Chaldeans, and they're the very ones to look and say, hey, king, these guys that you put over us, can you hear or feel jealousy in that? they got strangers over them, over that province of Babylon. The king didn't promote his own people, he promoted some outsider. 3 of them. And they're very quick to point that out. There are certain Jews, this right here, whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon. Yeah, these guys that you picked. Yeah, remember how we said you should have picked some of us? Yeah. Well, those guys, I mean, they're kind of trying to rub it in the king's face. Those guys, they don't worship our gods, and they didn't worship that statue that you said plainly when we heard the music we're supposed to bow down and worship. They didn't do it. I know you didn't see them. You were a little bit distracted, but we want to make sure that you know it. There are people out there like that. A lot of them. There's this little thing called the devil, and he's going to make sure to plant it in the minds of people. If he can tear you down as a Christian, he is successful. That's his goal. He wants to destroy you. The devil hates you. Anything that God loves, the devil hates. And these people who are so blinded to think that, hey, I don't have to worship God, it'll be all right. No, one or the other. You going one way or the other. If you're not worshiping God, you're giving it to the devil. That's all there is to it. And he still hates you. It thrills him when you fail. He has been, I'll just be honest with you, this past week, he has been on me trying to convince me that I'm a failure. Have y'all ever had that situation? Oh, yeah. Well, it's coming up Mother's Day. How many mothers do I have? Let's just be honest. You feel like at some time in your life, the devil has tried to convince you that you failed at being a mother. I mean, that's everybody. That's people who you may not have birthed your own, but I guarantee you're raising somebody out there. You're setting an example for them, and you still feel like you're the biggest failure out there. What could have I said to make things better? What could have I done different to make them choose better? What? And you want to blame yourself for all your kids' failures. Yep. Honey, don't let the devil put false guilt on you. He's a liar. He's a liar. And this whole thing of him getting the Hebrew children to worship something beside their own God, that's our world today is full of that. It wants us to accept anything coming and going, and we don't need to. We need to be brave enough, full of courage, full of faith, be able to stand up for God. That's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. As a teenager, I got invited to a birthday party. I was going to go. It was a bunch of people that I worked with. At that time, I worked at Big O Dairy Queen. Yes, I did. Made some good-looking sundaes, too. But anyhow, I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. And then they said, it just hit me. Ask them what they're drinking. I said, hey, guys, do I need to bring anything to drink? You know, y'all like Pepsis, Cokes, you know. I can bring a 2-liter or 2 if it helps. Oh, no, you don't have to bring anything. I said, oh, good. What do you have to drink then? We got a keg coming. I said, oh, okay. Well, I went back to work for a while. Then I went back. I said, you know what? I'm not going to get to go. I've got something's come up. And then they started prying. Well, you were going to get to go a minute ago. Why can't you go now? I said, I've got something that came up. I'm sorry, I can't go. Oh, what's going on, really? Why aren't you coming? I thought, you know, they're supposed to be my friends. Okay, here it goes. I said, guys, I don't drink. I don't support drinking in any way. I love y'all, but I can't be around it, so I can't come. If you're going to have a keg, I can't be there. From that point on, I had no friends where I worked. They turned on me in a heartbeat. As a matter of fact, I had gotten Employee of the Month that month, and one of the 2 main people having the party went and told my boss a bunch of stuff. Not only did it get the Employee of the Month taken away, I got fired the same month. And it was all just made up, bunch of lies because they got mad at me. But until I finished and got fired, I was referred to as St. Mary. St. Mary, that was my name from then on. I'm like, you know what? I'm glad to be St. Mary. And if nobody wants to talk to me, I'll talk to Jesus. That's exactly right. And you know what actually happened? I gave it to Jesus. I didn't try to go and convince the boss of anything. Well, sure enough, within that same week, those same people, those same girls got mad. Every single one of them walked out and quit and left. There were only 2 people left to run the entire place. That was myself and this assistant manager, this girl who was in college. She was a good Christian girl too. She went to the back because she was old enough to run all the machines. I wasn't old enough yet. And she made all the burger, and this was during lunch rush. You talk about some girls moving it, we were getting it. And then the main managers, they had to come out. After that point, they offered me my job back, and they gave me a $400 extra check to pay for my college books. I thought, well, they did not give me my Employee of the Month thing back. I should have went back and asked for that one. Anyhow, the things we remember. But anyway, think about that. The devil hates you. He's going to do whatever he can to destroy you. But as long as you stick with God, God's going to take care of you. He'll fight your battles, just like he fought for these boys. Look at verse number 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. I love that. Not only are we going to tell you the truth, but we're not going to hold back. Okay, we're not going to mince words. Verse 17. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Even in today's standards, a Jew will not bow down to anything whatsoever unless it's God. If they bow to something, that's considered worshiping it, and that's against everything that they believe. They only worship God. And these boys told the king how it was. They're like, listen, we're not going to worship your gods, because the Chaldeans, the Babylonians, they worshiped a lot of different gods, okay? They had a whole bunch of them. That's why every time you read it, it has a little g instead of a capital G, because they worshiped a bunch of gods. And Nebuchadnezzar was right in there. But these 3 boys, they're like, we're not worshiping those gods. We are going to worship one God, our God, God Almighty. That's it. And you know what? He'll deliver us. And when he delivers us, he's going to deliver us out of your hand. They didn't just say they'd be delivered from the furnace. They're going to be delivered out of bondage, period. Now, a lot of people see death as just an end. Guys, it's not an end. Death is just a beginning. Because once you die, you have an eternity. What is your eternity going to be? The ultimate eternity, I like that, Bird. The ultimate eternity is going to be just what Birdie said for Christians. Such beauty that we've never, ever experienced. We can't even, the Bible teaches that we can't even imagine the beauty. We can't even imagine it. Can you? Oh, I love it. I love it. Because, I look outside like today, man, it's beautiful. Going to be a high of 70, sunshine. Peggy wants it to be a high of 90. That's okay. It's a beautiful day. She brought me in some beautiful flowers. Oh, prettiest pink flowers. Beauty. Like, I'm telling you, it takes a God to create things like that. Man can't create that. Okay? I look around at you guys and I see you're beautiful to me. It took a God to create that. It took a very creative God to create that. The way that He created us to where our bodies can fix themselves. If we do what we should do, if we don't go and abuse our bodies, they are made to fix themselves. I've heard of healings of cancer, healings of different surgeries, healings of different, transplant. God is, there are no words that can describe that. I just cannot think of a word to describe God. So all of these magnificent, omnipotent, omniscient, man, He's everything. And these boys knew that. I wish I could get some Christians to know that. Because when death comes, it's not the end, it's just the beginning. My mom, I miss her every Mother's Day, just like many people miss their mamas on Mother's Day. But you know what? I wouldn't bring her back from heaven for no amount of money. First of all, she'd probably fight me if I tried. And secondly, to get to enjoy that, my grandmother went home to be with Jesus on Christmas Eve, 1995. That was one of the first times I ever met the White family. They came over to our house to pray with my mom because it was her mom who had passed. My grandmother lived with us, so it was like having two moms in the same house. I loved it. She's the one who taught me how to make biscuits. She's the one who taught me how to make some good gravy. Mama took over on the gravy part. But, I had some wonderful, and I miss them every Mother's Day. But you know what? They're enjoying something right now that one day I'll get to enjoy too. And just knowing that gives me peace. It gives me such an ease. It makes me so happy for them. And we have to understand the ultimate healing is to go to heaven. There are a lot of people in a lot of situations, they have sick loved ones. And they don't understand why they have to be sick. They don't understand why they have to die. We've had many people die at very young ages, and we don't understand. But do understand this. In God's plan, there is ultimate perfection. And when a person is following God, they are going to be given that gift. No matter the age. No matter the age, they're going to have that gift of ultimate perfection. We need to realize that and pray for healing, whether it be here or there. And these boys, they answered the king. They knew that they were going to be set free, even if they'd burned up in the fire. Okay. Let me read you this little thing called faithfulness. Faithfulness. Faithfulness is not holding the fort. It is storming the gates of hell. The will of God is not an insurance plan. It's a daring plan. Just coming to church and getting saved and saying, well, I know God, I'm good. Don't use it that way. When you really have a relationship for God, you want to do stuff for Him. You want to get out here and be daring. You want to tell somebody else about Him. If you love God and you love somebody else, don't you want to share Him? You want them to have that relationship like you have. If you have a child, you want your child to grow up and have that relationship like you have. You want your spouse to have that relationship like you have. Now, are they always going to listen? No. But the Bible gives promises to hang on to, so never give up. I don't care how long it's been, never give up, okay? It's not easy. I've walked that road also. It is so not easy. But I'm telling you, never give up. God will help you. Oh, yeah. The king got so mad at these three boys, he was like, we're going to throw them in the furnace. But notice something. He gave them a chance to talk to him first. Usually that didn't happen. That in itself showed how much the king thought of these three. Okay? That he would actually give them a chance to come and speak to him before giving them punishment. I wonder if it wasn't because of Daniel. The king knew Daniel. He knew Daniel. I think you're exactly right. In a way, it was the king protecting Daniel not to include the magicians. That way, because he knew he wasn't going to bow down. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I think you're right. But here we have these three. They didn't bow either. And look what happened in verse 21. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot, the flames of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The guards, the soldiers that bound them and threw them in, they fell dead. They were burnt by the furnace themselves because that furnace was so hot. That describes the temper of that king. That's why he was so hot. His fury, he was mad, and he wanted to take it out on them. So he's like, make it hotter, throw them in. And don't you wait for it to get up to temperature. You throw them in there while it's heating. I don't even like to open the oven when the cake is done if it's at 450 degrees and stand too close. Because that heat wave comes out, and I'm like, whew. I bet you do, actually. Peggy's the only person's like, I'll open it. I'll open it every time. She's freezing to death. God love her. But here, these guys, it was so hot when they opened the door to throw in the 3 Hebrew children, it killed them. Exactly. I absolutely believe that. And he made even more of a point. Look at verse number 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar, I love this verse, okay? I got to pause and tell you, I love this verse. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. That just about makes you want to shout. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God. He recognized it right there. Right there is the recognition. Ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes, oh, here we go again, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their heads singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. They didn't even smell like smoke. Now, I do want to point out something here. They were bound when they were put into the flames. So what did the flames burn? They burnt the bindings, the ropes that they were tied up with, but even through the burning of the ropes so they could be free, they still didn't smell like smoke. Yes, ma'am. For the people out there that didn't hear Miss Peggy just now, she said that's what God does for us. We are bound with sin. But when Jesus comes into the sea, we're set free from that bondage. That's what Jesus does for us. How many of y'all have ever went to a convenience store, gas station, your spouse goes in, comes back out, gets in the car, immediately you smell smoke. You're like, whew, somebody's smoking in there, wasn't they? Anybody experience that? I have experienced that a lot. They can't even walk around somebody that's had a cigarette, something that's about yay long and about that big around, and that smoke will stick to them. These boys came out of a furnace. When Jesus is on the scene, nothing's going to touch you. I don't care if you're standing in the middle of it. It's still not going to touch you. Not even going to make you smell like it. Yes, Miss Janie? Yes. Look at May the 4th be with you on May 4th. Everybody wears that. May the 4th be with you. Talking about the force. It is. It's based on a Star Wars thing, but I like to substitute Jesus. Yes, because he is quite the force. Look with me at this little snippet called Wise Enough. I love it. A God wise enough to create me and the world around me is wise enough to watch out for me. So I'm going to put my decisions in his hands, people. I'm not going to take it, hey, let's see what Stelina wants. I'm going to put those decisions in the hand of God. Look at verse number 28 with me. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Then the king, what'd he do? Promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Oh, Lord. They were probably just eating up. They felt like the furnace themselves on the inside. When these three got promoted, they told on them, got them in trouble, and then so help me, through their own punishment, Jesus showed up on the scene, and they came out unharmed, didn't even get hurt, and they got promoted in the end. I love it. When God is with you, you're going to be a winner. That song, I'm a winner either way. Oh, it's such a good song. We are. When we are Christians, we are going to be winners either way. Now, it doesn't promise that everything that we put our hand to in life is going to come out perfect. The devil is going to do everything he can to destroy us. He is going to try to attack you physically, mentally, financially. Whichever one gets to you the most, that's how he's going to try to attack you. It's that simple. The devil hates you. But honey, even if he gets it worked out to throw you in the middle of a fiery furnace, God is going to be there if you have faith in God. And it doesn't take a particular amount of faith. The Bible teaches a grain of a mustard seed, and those little fellers are really small. So that lets me know it doesn't matter how small my faith is. All I need to do is have faith that God's going to take care of it. A person that, oh man, I love their faith. When I saw their faith, they thrilled me. Every time I saw them, I couldn't help but smile. That's nobody but Kim's mama, Sister Tina. Honey, she'd come to me and tell me how much faith that she had in my prayers, or how much faith she had in my mama's prayers. And I'm thinking, oh, Sister Tina, if only people understood how much faith that you have. Because that woman had some faith. Yeah. When she said it was going to happen, one way or the other, it's going to happen. I loved it. And I love having people right now that have that kind of faith, that I know when I talk to them. And you know what? Tina passed that on down to Kim. I love it. Because Kim will say it, and she'll like, God's got it. And yes, he does. God's got each one of us. How is it I can believe him to raise Sister Amy Willis up, get her out of the hospital, get her back here in church, and have her ready and willing, because I'm telling you, this is one of the most willing women to help me out I've ever met. I can call within 30 seconds, say, Amy, I need you to take this class. All right, I'll see what I can whip together, and it'll be awesome every time. I love the willingness of Sister Janie. And if I can pray for God to fix her water and know that it's going to come out good and clear and fix it to where she gets a new well, maybe a new house, we'll talk about that later. When we talk about having faith for that, why is it I can't believe it? God's going to help me be able to sing 2 songs without choking, without my sinuses interfering. You see what I'm saying? I can have all the faith in the world that Sister Deanie was going to be here this morning and I'd get to see her. But, boy, I don't know if I'm going to make it because, boy, I've got that headache again. You know what I'm saying? People do that all the time. I cannot tell you all the different things I've heard for reasons to not come to church. I had a person just last week tell me that I can't come to church because so-and-so goes there. Well, honey, you wasn't coming to church before they came here. What was the reason then? You know what I mean? You're telling me you can't come to church now because they're here? You wasn't coming before they came here. I'm telling you, people will come up with any reason. If they want an excuse not to grow in a relationship with God, the devil will give them an excuse every time. Now, there is one that I wanted to read that I skipped on. It's the first one, I believe. Yes. It's titled Death Threat. And I do want to read this one to you. All right? It was the first, I call them snippets. It's the gray boxes. God sent David Wilkerson to New York City to share the gospel with gangs and drug addicts. On one occasion, a gang member named Nicky Cruz threatened to slice him into 1,000 pieces. Wilkerson's response was, and every piece will still love you just as Jesus loves you. Cruz eventually gave his heart to the Lord and became a great evangelist. God is with us in the fire. There is actually a movie out. I don't know the title. I apologize. But there is a movie out about this very thing, talking about Nicky Cruz becoming an evangelist. And it goes through this whole thing. What is it? Is it The Sword and the Switchblade? I believe it is. It's something in Switchblade, but it's what? Cross and Switchblade. There we go. I'm telling you, if you get a chance to watch this movie, it's an older movie, but man, it's a good movie. It is wonderful to see how God stayed with Wilkerson and protected him while dealing with these death threats that he received. You know what? Is God worth a death threat? If a person came into where you worked, person came into where you live, person came in right here where we worship, and they were threatening us and said, you know what, you better say that you don't believe in Jesus or I will kill you right here. Would we have the courage, and you don't have to answer it out loud, think about that. Would you? I mean, when you're looking death in the face, I remember as my mom, it being Mother's Day, I'm going to talk about Mama for a minute. She knew she was looking death in the face. She called me and my sister. She's like, I need you girls to come in here. She said, bring a paper and pencil. Got some stuff we need to plan. And I'm like, okay. She, in her hospital bed, she's like, first of all, let's get real. She used to say that when she's getting serious. Let's get real. I can't survive any surgery at this point because I'm too weak. My mother had lost down to 98 pounds. Okay? In my mama's heyday, you could say, she was 220 pounds. Now, she was only 5'2" every way you looked at her, And I was scared to death she was going to have a heart attack and die that whole time. But here she had lost all the way down to 98 pounds because of sickness, because of a tumor in her intestines, taking over her pancreas. And she's like, girls, let's get real. I can't survive a surgery like that. And she couldn't. It would be a minimum of an 8-hour surgery, and Kim can tell you the pancreas, that's the one thing it doesn't fix itself. You have to recreate it, so to say. And she couldn't have, she would have died in a surgery. She said, we got to plan some stuff. And she sat there and she planned her entire funeral, all the way down to even the color of the casket. Because she looked at me and she goes, you know, I'd really like to have a black casket. She wanted to match her brother who had died earlier in the year. His was navy blue. She thought it was black. That's okay. What does it matter anyhow, right? And she's like, do you think people think I'm weird if I want a black casket? I said, Mama, first of all, who cares what anybody thinks? And second of all, it's not going to bother you. You'll be dead. She said, let's get real. I thought, okay, I'm going to be real. This is how we talk in my family. Put it out there how it is. She even had me draw her headstone that she wanted for the cemetery. It was not an easy conversation for myself or my sister. We had to explain to her what a DNR paper really was to sign, do not resuscitate. She's like, well, I don't mind if they do a chest compression. We're like, Mom, do you realize if they do chest compressions, it breaks your ribs? Oh, Lord, I don't want that. You sign that paper. We made sure it was real. And she understood. She turned herself over to hospice. She met with the chaplain. The chaplain was with her that morning when she died. Me and my sister didn't get there in time, and I think that was on purpose. I believe that God makes it that way. My mother did not want us to see her pass, period. She didn't even want people to see her at a funeral. She required the casket to be shut. She said, y'all come in before you see me, shut it. Nobody else sees me. And that's exactly what we did. She looked death in the face, and her words were, I know where I'm going. I've got Jesus. Why do I have a worry? You guys have the worries. I don't have a worry. She told us how much she loved us. Said she didn't know how long it was going to take. Nobody does. And you know what? We planned all this out on a Friday, Saturday. The next Thursday, she went home. She is perfectly healed. And I thank God for it. She had faith. She had faith. Do we have that faith? We have faith to put people in heaven, whether we realize if they're going to heaven or not. We still have faith to say, oh, that's a good person. I believe they're in heaven. But we don't have faith to take care of a crick in the neck to get us to church on Sunday morning. I'm telling you, I've heard every excuse out there. He had joy, didn't he, Sammy? When you have a relationship with Jesus and you have that faith and you know that you know that you know, you have a joy that people don't understand. People just don't get it. That is, people who aren't Christians. Guys, I hope that you have learned something today. I hope that your faith has been able to be grown in some way today. Tell somebody Happy Mother's Day. And let me tell you, if you have a mama that is still on this earth, I don't care how you feel about her, go tell her Happy Mother's Day and you love her. Because if it wasn't for her, well, you wouldn't be here. If you look in the mirror and see yourself, she made one good decision, didn't she? I love you guys. Join us for worship at 11. at 11:15, and because it's 11:04 right now. Join us for worship, guys. It's going to be a great day in the Lord. I'm glad that you were here.